We're here today with Mrs. Julie Das, who is right now a missionary in Pakistan with her husband Jay. But we want to talk to her about growing up in Pakistan and then her time in America and then going back again as missionary. So, Julie, welcome.
Thank you, Pastor. And I really appreciate this opportunity to share my mission journey from my childhood to now.
Excellent. Very good. Tell us a little bit about what it was like to grow up as a Christian girl in Pakistan. Did you have any challenges?
Growing up as a Christian child with the majority Muslim children was a challenge for me.
What experience did you have? Did you feel bullied or left out because you were a Christian child?
Here and there, like you are playing just all right for a couple hours, and just at the end of the game, you were playing hide and seek or running around or doing something in the street. Somebody will pop up and say, "Oh, she's Christian." And that will change the whole game plan for everybody. Some people are scared of maybe of that bully and they want to play, but they will back off because that bully might go and attack them as well. Some will be resistant and they will say, that's okay, if she's Christian, I will still play. But if you are like right now when I'm back here, it's little different than what our childhood was. That bulliness, yes, we face it. Is it with everyone? No. So it's like there are good people, there are good families who don't raise their children like that. There are a few people where they don't understand the difference and they get on the bully behavior.
Mm-hmm. Were there times growing up when you were in danger?
Definitely, there was an uprising by political parties, and it was like a majority of all the parties are on one side and the ruling party is on one side. I might be that time a very little, and I experienced that first time. And I didn't even go to school the first time that happened in our culture. And then second time when it happened, I was probably in 7th grade when it started, and I was in 8th grade when it was on peak. And by the time we get into high school, 9th, 10th, we start hearing the Christian schools are taken away and government nationalized them. Christian teaching hospitals, all the institutions which were serving majority Muslims were taken by government and they were nationalized by the government authorities.
So the Christian schools were taken over by the government. How did that work out? Was it better after the government took over the schools?
No, Pastor. When we had the missionary schools, let me tell you from my, maybe I was in 3rd or 4th grade when I was sent to boarding house to a missionary school. So if you have maths, English, science, history as subject, you have Bible as subject. And if you pass math, science, history, and English, and you do not pass Bible exam, you will not be promoted to next grade. So it was just a mandatory subject, not an option. And with us, as we are less than 2% in Pakistan or 2%, however we say it, there will be 98 children who will be Muslims. And still in one of my school group, my school was Lucy Harrison Girls High School, and there is a big group on Facebook right now. And over there, even you see 98% Muslim girls are talking about high school and 2% are Christian. So all those 98%, they read Bible.
So there was a big influence of Christianity in the schools at that time, but then the schools were taken over and that wasn't there anymore.
That started some kind of, you will say, hostility afterwards, because Christians still wanted to claim their institutions, and Muslim students felt like, because we are majority, most of the time there was trouble in boys institutions, because we always had Christian girls schools and boys schools also.
And then you came to America. I think Jay was the first to come, didn't he? He came over to work. Tell us a little bit about your transition to America.
So when I went to America, so I have graduated here with maths, economics, and computer sciences, and I felt like I'm very literate. And then I had done my master's in comparative religions, because I always wanted to know what other religions believe, what do they offer. And when I read all this, the one thing which really kept me in my faith was that there is no such thing that I have to pay God for anything. I have to pay God with my works. I have to pay God with my prayer, with my worship. So that kept me strong in my faith. And when I looked at other religions, law was so strong that you have to do certain things and certain hours of the day, or the certain ways. And there was freedom, definitely, being Christian. And that kept me in faith. So when I come to USA, I felt like my childhood movie that we used to watch in Pakistan, Little House on the Prairie. So you go and knock your neighbor's door, and everybody goes to Sunday to the church. But America was not that Little House Prairie's America. It was just a secular America when we reached in there. That was the only shock we had. We did not have the cultural shock, but we did have Christian cultural shock. And once I realized that everybody is not Christian in America, I have to kind of calm myself down before I reach people about church. And that was a different thing.
You had some difficulty in America too with the way people reacted to your dress, because that was right around the bombings in New York, wasn't it? And then also the tragedy that happened later on. How did people relate to you then?
So when the 9/11 happens, when we had the Twin Towers tragedy in New York, right after that, it happens in September, and by January, it gets little chilly in Naples also. And we went to watch for a movie with our children. We went to see a movie. And I was wearing just my regular woolen clothing. It was warm, and it was keeping me comfortable. Normally, I don't wear that in Naples, because there were not many ethnics in Naples that time. And we were in the line at the theater, and there were some school-age children, like high schoolers. So one said, "Wow, she's wearing a beautiful dress." And the other one said, "And you never know if she's hiding a bomb in that long dress." And that made me very uncomfortable. More than it made me uncomfortable, it made my little children who were in primary and middle school, that made them also very uncomfortable that our mom is throwing those kind of comments on her.
Mm. But you did come to the point where you began a mission society in the United States to reach Muslims, Hindus, Sikhs with the gospel. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so when I see that people are thinking like everybody who's dressed this way is Muslim, and this is not right, that we make assumption of people, how they dress or how they look. If I have dark hair and dark skin, that does not mean that I'm a Muslim or I'm a Christian. So we should not be counting those things towards people to start a barrier of prejudice there. And then I started talking in my church. I said, well, this is not right. And even if somebody is Muslim, how can we say that Muslim for sure is a terrorist, or that Muslim is brewing a trouble? So it's just not right. Being an American, we cannot do that. I mean, we are on the higher civil society standards. and we cannot carry on. And then I started that bringing that awareness to the church, that people who dress differently, we should reach them also, talk to them. They might be the potential person who's seeking Christ, who needs to know what is law and what is gospel. So let's reach them. So I started with my church, and then my church said what we can do to get our church familiar with those faces, those accents, those skin colors. So I said, let's start a women group where we invite Muslim, Hindu, Sikh women, and let's do not a Bible study, just a social group. And we reach them with Christ's love, and we show them if they need some help. And the idea was, because I know how to make those dresses, and I always get good comments on my dresses at LWML. So I said, I can teach women how to make those dresses or repair or alterations. And so we announced, so some Muslims, some Hindu, Sikh women, they started coming. And then we had some ladies from our American church group, and they participate, and we started co-mingling with them. And it was amazing, the stories that every week we share with our Muslim sisters, Hindu sisters. It was amazing. They feel just like us Christian women.
And so you shared Bible studies, Bible stories with them while you were doing the sewing and all of that. You also got to speak to some LWML conferences and pastoral conferences about your ministry while you were here.
Yes, Pastor. And the first time I was speaking was in Orlando. That was Rock Conference by Lutheran our Ministries. So we shared our group there. Then Pastor Bruce Leesky, who just passed away last year, he was there. Then with the LWML conferences and pastoral conferences. So I spoke at many occasions, sharing Pakistani Christian cultural background, and also how to reach this cultural background people.
And then what happened? How did you get back to Pakistan now as missionaries?
So I think because I was raised by missionaries in Pakistan, my boarding house was a missionary. So there was a little missionary in me always, because of those missionaries who came from, like my missionaries were from Baltimore, Maryland, Toronto, Canada, and all those people had some contribution in my life. Mr. and Mrs. Moore, Captain Major Duffett. So all these people had contribution, and I think that was in me. And when I started this group in USA, that mission mind was still there to reach people, to help people, to serve people with Christ's love. And while I was attending those LWML meetings, pastoral conferences, my husband Jay, who has his own business, his background is he's electrical engineer, electrical contractor now, and he was going with me and talking to different pastors. And when he speak about gospel message, so they said, Jay, you should be trained and you both be a team to reach Muslims, Hindus, and other faiths here in America. And that was the thing. Jay started EIT course with the St. Louis Seminary, Concordia.
The Ethnic Institute of Theology, Ethnic Immigrant Institute of Theology, yeah.
Yes, okay. And Jay has finished his almost 5 years, not 4 years, 5 years of studies. And then last year when he was ordained in Romania, Transylvania, and there was an opportunity a year ago happened when we were talking about Pakistan Church, and Eurasia Mission Director mentioned, Pastor James Krekwa, that we will like to do something in there. And then we speak with the Christian church in Pakistan, and we ask, what do we need here? What can we Lutherans be helpful? And they said,
so the Missouri Synod became involved, yes. and the church in Atlanta, Pastor Dragamiller there.
Oh yeah. So when Jay was needing a vicarage, there was no vicarage available in Florida. So we moved to Georgia. It's 40 miles north of Atlanta, Georgia, Cumming, Georgia. And Pastor Greg Mueller was in contact with us since 2013. And we met in a pastoral conference where I was speaking. And he's just a mission-minded pastor. He said, you give him a little opportunity of mission, he will just get into that. And he said, we will do it. So we were offered vicarage in Cumming, Georgia at Living Faith Lutheran Church. And Jay finished 3 years of vicarage there. And our church, when we were talking to our church about our background and everything, our whole congregation is full of missionaries. And they said, we will start this mission with the help of LCMS missions office. And this is how this mission was started. Jay was ordained last year and sent back to Pakistan as a first LCMS ordained pastor in Pakistan.
So this is a partnership between a congregation in the United States in Cummings, Georgia, and the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod to start work in Pakistan. How is that going?
It is going really well. And I always want to say this mission was started really in Faith Lutheran Church, Naples, Florida, when I met with you, Pastor Don Treglon. You two pastors are the one who confirmed us in Lutheran Church and gave us the basic teachings. And then Pastor Greg Mueller takes us and sharpen us being missionaries and sends us back. We have first confessional Lutheran Church established in Islamabad. 2 different areas of Pakistan already working on some mission planting in Karachi and Lahore now. We have catechism classes at 4 different places. These 9 young men who are becoming Lutheran pastors, they are going through Riga, Latvia Lutheran Seminary. Professors are from Fort Wayne Concordia Seminary, Dr. Art Just, Pastor John Bombaro, and they are teaching these 9 men via Zoom and through intensive courses. Last time Dr. Bombaro came here, and now Dr. Art Just and Dr. Bombaro coming back for another week of training. And with that partnership, these 9 seminary students are going to be Lutheran pastors, and in God willing, in 2 years, we will have many Lutheran churches here.
So you're starting Lutheran churches, and I hear that there may be a Lutheran school as well.
Well, that's interesting because of, as I said, that my missionary background, I was given free education by my mission school, missionaries who came from USA and Canada. And when we met with Muslim brothers and sisters here with different venues, they all appreciate the Christian schools, what gave them the education. And everybody asked, so then the plan is that every Lutheran church is going to establish a school so we can get back into the Christian missionary schooling and give them the proper education.
That's a wonderful goal and plan. I understand that you had some children singing around Christmas time in one of the hotels. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yes, Pastor. So this hotel manager, when we were sitting there and attending a Christian conference, and he came there and somebody mentioned him that Pastor Jay comes from USA. He said, what part of USA you come? And they started talking. This man previously lived in New York and worked for hotel industry. And now he is a general manager of big hotel here. So he said, Christmas is coming, and that was around November. And we said, yeah, we are excited. He said, are you going back? And when we said no, he said, can you guys put a Christmas tree up here in this hotel so people will know what is Christmas about? And we said, yeah, we will donate 1 tree. And we asked our church, and they donated a tree for display in Pakistan. We know it's not a Christian symbol, but for the other world, they look it at, it's related to Christianity. We put a tree there, and he said, what favor I can give you? And what else you can do to make Christmas more obvious? We said, well, we have little children. They can come and sing Christmas carols, what we used to have in our childhood as well. the Christmas carols in Pakistan. And he said, I will love to have children to do Christmas carols. So we planned 27 children from catechism class, but we ended up with 30 children singing beautiful Christmas hymns in English and in Urdu.
What a great witness, Julie, in the middle of Pakistan. It was in Islamabad, right?
It is in Islamabad, and there were many foreigner guests staying in there, and the manager invited guests to witness the Christmas carols. So one particular lady from a European country, I will not say the names, she's Christian, but she's married to a Pakistani Muslim man, and she just came here to visit the family. When she heard those Christmas carols, and she asked her husband, you never told me that there are Christians in Pakistan. And then these little children were able to speak other people about the hymns that they were singing. And most interesting was, We Three Kings from East. And when they were singing about those specific gifts, people asked questions about that. And these little children were able to witness Christ through those little gifts.
You have an incredible ministry. Whoever would have thought this would happen? If somebody wants to give you support, what should they do?
We have a website. It's called www.lccpmission.org, or they can directly contact Living Faith Lutheran Church, Cumming, Georgia. Our address is 1171 Atlanta Highway 30040 in Cumming, Georgia. Pastor Tim Dragemuller is the pastor in charge there. Dave Cook is our financial secretary to the Lutheran Confessional Church Pakistan Mission Board. And they will be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Julie, very much. It was very helpful, and we wish God's richest blessings on the ministry that you and Pastor Jay are having right now in Pakistan.